D'Anthony and Claire got next. Same story, different text. But in reality, they don't even have the same plans. See, he's pay as you go with that brand that hops while she hovers over horizons with Verizons, but her galaxy isn't that far away as she notes her words into touch screens. Never touched green, though her friend Emma tried to introduce her to Molly. She'd rather pop words instead, no sweating. Some of y'all got that, cool. All right. She's only regretting reality, hers. See, she's from a family that feuds, no Richard Dawson or Steve Harvey. They hardly speak on days ending in Y, and sometimes words are thrown like deadly darts laced with complacency and defeat. Daughter can't remember the last time something positive was said to her, so daily she rides to school with a mother who pays her no mind, and though she sits back in leather seats that are heated and reclined and enough legroom for a man of 8 feet, she is a Windows 8 laptop computer detached. Tired of the silent arguments that no one ever seems to win, her mind rolls back to when she was daddy's girl. Horseback riding and ballet, wishing she could go back in her mind and replay all those memories, not like DVDs, but more VHS because they were just a little bit warmer. Said she remembered those days, but now her present is colder than Christmas Day. Those pretty brown bows that used to lace her hair are no longer there. Early morning kisses have gone. She might as well just be another number, 1452420, because she is just another teenager given heavy expectations with no communication. So while her friends sip lattes and strike yoga poses in their Lululemons, she writes. Fell in love with pouring round stick Bics onto legal rude pads, wanted to explore open mics and coffee shops, but parents thought it bad only because they never took the time to see that it was important to she. Said that that wasn't an avenue that she could turn down, but really she just wanted to turn up her knowledge of expressively executing exquisite poetry. Shouldn't we be tired of judging a book by its cover? Because on the outside, she's LV fresh, but inside there is a dying unrest. And unless she's given the tools to properly grow, she won't grow, and that fruit will spoil, and she knows this. So daily her tears rain down pillows like monsoons, and they always spill and spell out the same thing, mommy and daddy. Sometimes I want you to just notice me, because outside of the grades you want lies a person. And because of this, she acts out. She can't rebel, so she rebels against the word by doing suicides on the page instead of live action, though it's thought about it and crossed her mind a time or two, said this is real life. Some folks deemed her poetry a little bit too real, because see, her parents gave her the best of things, but they never gave her the best of them. So now she's confused, and she tries to use this pound of flesh that hurt to try to heal another. So she teamed up, Doc King dreamed up a plan to proceed with these words and this poetry that others tried to silence, but they will never silence her truth. There will only be signs at the door that read, to be continued. Thank you. By a show of hands, who's ever written poetry before? Any ever written poetry? Show of hands, show of hands. Okay, by a show of hands, raise your hand if you've ever written your name on a piece of paper before. Raise your hand, raise your hand. Everybody, you all are poets. Give yourselves a round of applause. There's poetry in your name. You know, Robert, or however you want to say it. So it's always poetry in your name. So I started writing poetry. I was a late bloomer as a poet. I really didn't start till my mid-20s when I got to college. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I wasn't aware of how life-changing words could be, because I really was never given the opportunity growing up to use the gifts that I had inside of me. I really didn't realize them until I kind of stumbled upon them one day. And the title of the talk is D'Anthony and Claire Have Next, because I believe that the youth, they have next, and their next is now. It's their turn, it's their time. And I'm reminded of a story, you know, growing up, how And everybody probably has this story where you're trying to learn how to ride the bike, and your dad or whoever's holding the bike, and you're just like, yeah, this is cool. And you're always looking to make sure, but as soon as they let go, you're like, oh, I can't do it, and you just fall out. I don't know why we do that. And it reminded me of that coming in, because I was like, we have to give our youth and our children the opportunity to fail. We can't allow them, we can't coddle them to the point where they don't have any experiences in life and they come out into the world and they don't have any knowledge of people, culture, anything, because we haven't exposed them to it, because we're afraid they're going to fall. But we fail. We do. We fail. And if the sun doesn't shine, it's not a sunny day. What's a sunny day if you've never seen the sun? And our children have to understand, and we have to really nurture them and cultivate them. And, you know, it doesn't make sense to plant a seed and say, okay, seed, grow. And then we get mad at the seed for not growing, but we don't water it. We don't till the earth. We don't do anything to nurture the seed so it doesn't grow. And that's kind of what's happening with our kids. I'm in school systems all the time, and it's like these children are just, go to school, go. And it doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter. Everybody has a story. We just heard Claire's story. And it's like, just go. Go get these grades, go do this, and I don't care. And nothing else matters. And our children are hurting on the inside because we're sheltering them, and we're keeping them from spreading their wings and flying and becoming who they are supposed to be, because we're not giving them the opportunities to do it. And it takes everybody. There's an African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's still true today. It can't just be about the parents. It's the teachers, it's the administrators, it's the neighbor down the street. We have to stop being afraid of our children. We're afraid, and no one wants to admit that. Everyone wants to just say, oh, it's no, but we're afraid of our children, and we have to stop. We have to show them that we care, show them that we love them. Raise your hand if you have children in high school or middle school. Okay, great. Now, don't raise your hand again. But when was the last time that you told them that you loved them? Because see, what happens is you have high school kids and middle school kids. They're like, oh, I'm too cool for that, Mom. Don't touch me, Dad. Oh, get your spit off my face. Don't do that. But it's important. And as hard as they may try to act, or they may try to act like they don't care or they don't like it, tell your children you love them. Give them a hug. Because it's so important, because I run into kids every day who are just like, I don't know, my mother hasn't told me that she loves me in forever. She gives me things. She takes me to the mall, XYZ, but that doesn't matter. So, and we have to show our children that we love them, and we have to stop trying to live our never, never land dreams through our children. We got to let them be who they are. We have to. Because we stifle their growth, and we stifle who they're going to become when we don't nurture them, when we don't water them the way we're supposed to. Because they have next, and they're not waiting on us to give them permission. They're going to do it regardless. But our goal has to be like that father or that mother or that person who's holding that bicycle. We got to guide them to help them win. And once we see that they have it, we got to let go. We have to let go. Because there's a sign at the door that reads next. There's a sign at the door that reads to be continued. See, D'Anthony and Claire, they got the same story, different text. His earbuds are tuned in while his red snake finds its way into his camo shorts. He's detached from the world that he's supposed to be connected to. Seems like in this day and age where there's more social networks than anything, we're barren. No fruit is being produced, and some people would look at him and judge him by his colors, and I should understand what's really going on inside his mind, because see, D'Anthony, he's gone, zoned out, head nods, not to the latest of hip-hop and R&B, but he has Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited playing and the greatest hits of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Elders would label him an old soul. But because they judge on outside appearances, they never take the time to get to know him. Said because they judge him on outside appearances, they never take the time to really get to know him. And though they can't really recollect and remember that they wore a fashion at the time, one in their day just to fit in as well, seems like that gene or whatever just goes away as we get older, and we forget that we were younks one or once young, or we used to be the young ones, but now we're a little bit older and bolder. trying to be stronger with these words that we spit. D'Anthony, well, he refuses to be high seed, boxed in, so he'd box them, those who ever tried to talk about him and try to call him different. But maybe if you got to know his story, you'd know a little bit more. See, you'd probably be the same if all you had for dinner was syrup sandwiches, trying to go to school every morning with your stomach growling, but it never outgrowled his hunger for knowledge. And he was good in math, so he'd add quadratic equations instead of birds and pounds. This here is the sound. Going every day through the killing fields. We call them street corners. Imagine being 10 and knowing the corner. This is real life. And some deem it a little bit too real, so they place him on the back burner. But those same ones will try to put him under the jail if he ever pulled burners. Last night, it wasn't a DJ that saved his life, but it was the Most High and some potent words. So while those shots rang out down the street, he'd scribe the stories like Jacob Lawrence with a brush. Only except he'd use a pen. We talking about bright reds and moody blues. There I go, there I go, there I go. Appreciation for the jazz. But just like a girl on the other side of the metropolis that he's yet to meet, his father also shunned the words. So he could never play, and his soliloquy could kill 99.9% of the bad vibes, but he has to internalize all those things. These lies like TV, they trying to see through but he has something better to give. So he does what he feels is best, steps out, understanding that he's a little vexed, feeling like the youth don't get to speak enough. And even though their words and dialect is Southern, he feels like their drawl should still draw attention. But they fail to mention how dope he was as a poet. They couldn't even understand the words inside the letters or the letters inside the words, like 20 plus 5 plus 4 equals X. That's Ted. They never got that though. So he'd write for show and tell, but he'd tell words of truth and justice in the life that he spit. Well, he spit back over fiction. Even when he stood in front of a stage of 1,000, they were still aroused and applaud. And even when someone to the left of him or the right of him was writing on boards and writing words and still trying to understand these words that we spit poetry. Spoken word, D'Anthony and Claire have been misled and misread because we read the box and never really get the contents. Said we only read the box and never get the content. So I'm content with continuing to spit this poetry, spoken word, even if it's off the top of the dome. This is where I dwell at. This is my home on stages with red letters and black words. And everybody that's speaking today, you've heard something important they had to say. They say, what are you doing now? I say, this is spoken word freestyle my way. And by the way, this is really what's next. Don't ever underestimate the power of the young because they have something to say. Don't ever call them dumb. Understanding what's really real. D'Anthony and Ted and D'Anthony and Claire and everybody else just like them have something important to say, so you better move out the way or at least help and lend a helping hand because they've got next. So there's a sign on the door and it will never read silent. It will only read next. Peace. Love you, Kai. Thank you.